What's up, guys? So there's something that's really been on my mind here lately, and apparently on a lot of other people's minds. I'm in a couple different groups on Facebook, and a lot of people keep bringing up the question about how do I get my girlfriend, spouse, fiance, whatever, how do I get them on board with my crazy goals? And a lot of people are giving awesome advice, but I felt like the people that aren't in those groups, I want to reach out to you and tell you my opinion about what you need to do. And I actually am experiencing this firsthand as well. My fiance is, a great person. She has her own goals and stuff like that. They're not super ambitious, but she does have goals. And she's not comfortable with a ton of change. Whereas I want to constantly change. So we're on two different spectrums. I want to constantly change and evolve and get better. And she's kind of more comfortable where she's at. She's happy with life. Of course I am as well. But, she doesn't like change. She doesn't want tons of change. I mean, there's things she does want to change, of course. But she's not like me where it seems like everything in life I want to change. I want things to improve. Maybe not completely change, but I want to take massive action. And if you're like that, or you have a friend that is like that, you need to make sure to tell them to watch this video, because I'm about to cover how to get a spouse, a significant other on board with you. So something I've really been working on here lately, and other people have said it as well, is, create goals together. And this is the biggest thing, is to create the goals together. Because if you have all these lofty goals that you want to become a millionaire, that you want to be able to travel the world, that you want to be able to maybe just stay at home all the time, you not have to go into work at a 9-to-5 job, you want to be able to do whatever you want to do. I think that's pretty much everybody. They would love to do that. But some people can't fathom how to get there, while others try and think of any way possible to do that. And if you're in that second category there, you think of any way possible to get to what you want to, and yet your spouse is on the other side where they can't think of how to get there. They think they're stuck with the 9-to-5, got to just do that for 40 years and then retire. That is a problem, because you need to get them on the same page as you. You guys need to link up, and that's where goals come in. Goals for yourself are great, but when you have somebody else that is with you along this thing called life, you have to make goals together. And that's one thing with my fiance I have really done, or we have done, I should say. I should stop saying I, because that's another thing. If you're saying I, you're talking about yourself. It's all about you. And it's not all about you anymore, because you have somebody important in your life. Somebody that you hopefully will be there with you for the rest of your life. So you've got to change that I to a we. Become French, as some people make the corny joke. But anyways, you have to start saying we. We need to have these goals. We need to work on these goals together. What do you want? What is it that you want? Dream together. You have to dream together, because if you're just saying, I'm going to go work, maybe you have to work that 9-to-5, because that's how you really make your money. I'm going to work 9-to-5, and then once I get off work, I'm going to come home and I'm going to work for another 4 or 5 hours, as a lot of these entrepreneurs say, which for me, that's really hard to do. I'm going to admit it. It's very hard for me to come home and work for another 4 or 5 hours, since I've been working in the morning, gym, all this stuff, working on myself more in the morning than the evenings, but I still try to work on myself. But working 4 to 5 hours after you've been gone all day, especially with a spouse, especially if they're staying at home, but if they're, they've been at work as well, they want to spend time with you. And they just don't get why you want to work another 4 to 5 hours at night and not spend time with them. And so you have to find that balance. But the thing is, if you just say, well, this is why I'm doing it, because I want us to become a millionaire. I want this, I want that. And it's more about what you want and not an us thing. That's one reason why you're not doing well, but also because they don't understand the goal. The goal is not theirs in their mind, because you're talking about, I want to become a millionaire. I want to travel the world. You're not including that other person. You have to start including them in everything. And once you start including them in everything, you'll notice how they're gonna be there for you. They're gonna wanna do more stuff. For me, I've been trying to do more and more stuff, and I started including my fiance in this stuff. I'm like, hey, what are goals you want? Let's sit down and talk about goals. We're still, we've kind of talked about it over text message, a little bit in person, but we haven't actually sat down and talked about it. But things have gotten a lot better since I started including her in this and telling her why I've made this change from engineering to real estate. Is I can see with real estate, I can envision that with real estate, I can make a lot more money than I can with engineering. Yes, I made decent money, but it was not life-changing money. And even maybe with real estate for me personally, maybe it won't be life-changing money for me. Maybe I'll need to do more, but I know I can make more with real estate than I could with engineering. And so I'm using this as a tool, whether I stay here for the rest of my life, or if I use this for a couple of years and then move on to something else, who knows? But I'm working with my fiance, soon to be wife, on this, not just saying, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do this, you're just gonna sit there and reap the benefits. No, she needs to be in on the process, because the biggest thing is the process. That's the hardest part. And if you don't have your spouse on board, it's gonna be so hard to succeed, because she or he is not gonna be supportive. They're not gonna see what you see. They're not gonna get why you're working all these hours, and you're gonna have all these troubles, because they're gonna constantly say, why do you work so much? Why aren't you happy with life? Why are you doing all this and you're not getting anything? Because they don't see the long-term goal. Maybe if you have to give away free stuff like Gary Vee talks about, give away free stuff for a while, and then eventually you can charge. Eventually you give so much content, so much information, so much value to people that then they want to start paying you. But if they don't see why you're doing all this stuff for free at the beginning, or what the method to the madness is, then they're not going to be supportive. So in order to get a spouse, a significant other on the same page as you, or even just a friend, a friend you really want to help them grow as well, you have to start including them in what your goals are, why you're doing those goals, and also come up with goals together. That's the biggest thing, is just coming up with those goals together, because just having goals of your own is not good enough. Because you may not know, they may actually be on the same page as you, and you don't realize it, because all you keep saying is, you need to do this, you need to do that, you got this goal, that goal, you want to get here, you want to get there, and it seems like you're just trying to do it on your own. You're not worried about them at all. So once you start including them on these goals, I promise things are going to completely change. And it's just like the definition I believe Jim Rohn gave for a mastermind. It's when two minds come together and create a third mind. That is the mastermind, because these two individual minds could not think of this thing, that when they came together and started formulating ideas, all these new ideas were created and established. And so that mastermind is what you're looking for. And so with the spouse, maybe you have all these goals, maybe you have these ideas of, I need to do this, point 1, point 2, point 3, and I'll get result X. But then the spouse comes along and says, well, why don't you do point 1 and then point 3, not worry about point 2, perhaps, or maybe she adds another point, like, hey, throw this one in there, it's very close to others, and you'll get 10X instead. And so you never know this, but formulating goals together, formulating ideas together, being on the same page is so important. And this doesn't happen overnight. This takes a while. One last example about me and my fiance. She has talked about how she doesn't like change. And like most of you who have significant others in your life, they probably don't like change either. If you're watching this video, they don't like change. They are happy where they're at. And that's exactly how my fiance has been. But the more I've talked about this. First of all, she gets around the whole fact of goal setting, about becoming better than you are today, all these things. And so that starts, getting into her mind. She's been getting fed this, so to say, just like if you're listening to this, listening to podcasts and stuff, this has been something you've been feeding yourself over and over and over again. So this seems normal to you, but it's not to those that don't listen to this stuff. So first of all, just saying the things, talking about it, doing it is one thing, but also dreaming with them. This is when it really changed, because she sees how hard I work. She sees all the goals I have. She sees me getting those goals. She sees me working at those goals, whatever, wherever I'm at in these certain goals. But once I started dreaming with her, once I started telling her, I'm doing this for us. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for our future kids, our future marriage. I'm doing this for all these reasons that are beyond me. I'm doing this for other people, That's when she started getting on board. And I'll probably do another video about this once we have sat down and actually talked out these goals. But getting back to what I was talking about, when we first started dating, she didn't want change at all. She didn't understand why I wasn't happy with engineering, why I wanted to go into real estate. And now, because I've been showing her the potential of what real estate can bring, and showing her that I'm happy with this, my schedule is a little bit more flexible, all these benefits behind it, and the reasons behind it aren't just because I want to make money. I want us to make money. I want our kids to be better off. I want to learn about this industry so we can invest more. It's about we. And once I started showing her that, including her in those goals, proving the method to the madness, so to say, she got on board. And she has started doing changes herself. Now, I want to go into those changes, but I know she doesn't really want me to talk about those. So I'm going to respect her for that. But she has started changing. She has made changes because she sees what I do. She sees what I'm capable of, and she wants to be more like that. She wants to be that supportive spouse. I'll say one example. She hates to cook. She still hates to cook. But you know what? She sees how hard I work. She sees how, nice I am to her, how much I love her, and she tries to cook for me because she wants to show love back. Of course, she shows it in other ways, but she is sacrificing something herself and changing because she hates to cook. She, doesn't really know. She's learning, but she doesn't truly know how to cook, and yet she's willing to make that change, that sacrifice to do something she doesn't like to make me happy and to learn a new skill. So she's changing. See, that's a small change, just learning how to cook. And yet, a year ago, she didn't want to cook. She didn't like the idea at all of cooking. There's so many other things that she's changed. But for somebody who hates change, she has changed so much in a year. So don't give up on your spouse. Please don't give up on them. You need to fix you. And the thing is, the fix you need to make is including them in goals, setting goals together. So if you're setting goals for yourself and not including them in that, not telling them what's going on, not reporting back to them, so to say, then they're not going to be on board. And you're going to struggle with that relationship. You're going to struggle to actually create that life that you want for each other. So make sure you're including them in the goals. That's how you get your spouse on board. Include them in the goals. Sit down and talk about it. Lay out a plan if they're a planner. You've got to speak their language. You can't have them come to your language. You got to speak their language. Guys, if this impacted you at all, please leave a comment. Let me know what more you want to know. Like I said, so many people have been talking about this, something I've been working through myself, and I know it's important for everybody else. So share this with a friend if they're in the same situation. I guarantee you've got at least one friend that does that. So share it with that one friend. Guys, take this message, apply it, and have a healthy and blessed day.